Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode in hopefully a long series of videos that I want to make. And it's the first episode of how to play or something. I haven't really figured out the name yet, but it's kind of a map guide. And I want to make them super standard. And the games that we're going to be featuring are some of them are not going to be very unique. This one is. It was a really good game that we played. But I might pause the video here and there to explain a couple of things. And what I want to focus on is just some starting positions and some holding positions, some aggressive plays that you can make. Because the overwhelming majority of tomatoes that I do tomato training with and help out. I'm just gonna pause the replay here for just 1 second. The tomatoes that I help out, the number one thing that everybody always says is that I don't know where to go. When I play a heavy tank, I go to the heavy flank. When I play a medium, I follow the mediums. And it gets kind of into this like autopilot process that, 80% of World of Tanks players play the game like that. And that is completely fine. Like, I'm not here to downplay how people play the game or anything. And that's kind of what makes World of Tanks so fun, is because, everybody can just do their own thing, right? But for people that do want to get better and that who want to understand how to play a map, right? If you download the game in 2.0 and you have just gotten like your first tier 8, or you've started playing a lot of tier 10 battles in your free tier 10 tanks, and you're still kind of confused how the general flow of the battle goes on certain maps, that's why I want to make these videos, because the plays that I make here are very basic. Like, I don't really do anything super special here in regards to the map. This game is still quite good, but apart from that, it is a pretty standard terms of play. So the first spot that I wanted to point out is shooting at a crossing. The number one thing that we want to look for when we are looking at maps is trying to get some early shots in. Whether this is one shot, whether it's 2, 3, maybe you get a fire on a crossing, it does add up. Because if you want to get a nice damage per game ratio, maybe you're playing for Mark of Excellence, or maybe you're just, grinding through tanks, you want as much experience as possible, and getting in 1 or 2 shots early can make quite a bit of difference. So again, I'm just gonna pause the replay here. The first location that we used here is this little bush location. It's kind of weird because we're playing a medium tank with practically no armor, and we're going to the heavy flank. Now, it's kind of a weird decision because, again, we have no armor, but this location here allows us to get very, very easy starting shots or opening damage, if you will. If you stay here for longer, you will usually get 2 shots. Because what happens is that you first have the initial fast heavy tanks that cross, like an E5, I7, stuff like that. And then you have another wave of slower heavy tanks that cross, like the Maus 705A, the E100, stuff like that. I only left here because, in my opinion, it's the right thing to do. I could stay here for longer, but when the enemies have this location, they can farm people in this like little bathtub area very, very efficiently. And most of the time, I'm actually guilty of overstaying my welcome here a little bit, because I get greedy for these crossing shots, or maybe shoot people in the side of the turret. so I don't tend to leave, and then I get punished as I'm trying to run away. You can stay here for longer if you have heavy tanks contesting this, because then these people will be occupied with your heavy tanks, and then you can still shoot the crossing and maybe get some side shots in the turrets of people. So, very, very nice. All of these bushes still have access to the middle, so if your light tank spots something, you can still have quite easy access to all of these locations in the back here. Or, well, at least these. It's kind of at the edge of your render distance, but you still have a little bit of an overwatch here. Of course, you have these tank destroyer bushes here. Very, very easy. If there are some overly aggressive light tanks on the enemy team, it's very easy to play here as well. I'm going to showcase another starting position that I like on the other flank, where we're going to now. But this was our opening. And it's quite nice. We got 426 damage, a little bit of a high roll. And 422 assistance damage on the E5. So he's already down to 1600 damage. Just because we went to that location. So, yeah. Again, one shot might not seem like a lot, but, you know, if you're going for these, like, crazy, like, 5k DPG games, then one shot like this is the difference between, you know, 4,600 and 5,000. So, yeah. And as I said, usually you get 2, so that's already like 800 damage, plus maybe fire if you aim for fuel tanks. It makes a big difference. You can go here as well, because you can punish people at the back here, like F0, if you have aggressive scouts, which we do have. This Rhymethal can spot these people on the top ridge. So, kind of a misplay by me. I should have just activated my booster and boosted over here. It would have been a little bit quicker. The second starting position is this kind of area right here. I kind of like it. I usually go to the ridge where this E100 is to shoot people over here. But what I was thinking is going here to these trees where the badger is. Now, this position is quite nice because you have bush cover if you knock these trees over. And then you have quite nice shots at the people up here. Or if you're a hold down tank, you can be a little bit more aggressive and maybe play, use your counter pressure and turret armor right here to, again, just punish the people on hill. But again, these aren't really good starting shots because it is an unreliable damage source. You don't know if these people are going to be spotted. You don't even know if they're going to sit there. You don't know if the enemy team is going to invest anything on this flank. Whereas 9 times out of 10, people are always going to go play aggressively on the heavy flank. So that's just why I chose to start over there this game. And you'll see that in all of my starting positions, I always have a way to escape. Because the way I judge a tank is on 3 parameters, which is firepower, mobility, and armor. I don't have armor, I have firepower and mobility. Here you'll see me wait to shoot until he moves, because I was doing a mission to do 4000 HP of damage to moving targets, so they have to be moving, obviously. But yeah, I judge my tanks out of those 3 parameters, and if I find myself in a situation where I can't escape, I'm kind of hindering on using 1 out of 2 parameters that I have, right? Or things, or abilities. I can use my firepower in pretty much every single situation. But if you lock yourself in a spot where you cannot escape, you're kind of hindering in using, you know, like 50% of your vehicle. This is not... I should maybe just cut this out. I was kind of memeing because I was once sitting in base in a gorilla, I think it was. And I got shot from here by like a medium or something, or a light tank, and it was really annoying. So I literally just went here to see if this was a viable spot. So maybe it's actually good that I included it in the video. Conclusion, it is not good. It isn't very efficient. So, what is our plan here? My team is pushing 9-0. Now, I've talked about this not many times, but at least once before in the pattern video. about winning a flank and then pushing it. So steps, if you need to know, is one map out of a couple where defending your base is incredibly powerful because of these positions here on the K line. These are ridges, because you have hard cover and you have soft cover. So you have bushes and you have rocks to hide behind. So you can double bush, you can be unspotted, and if you're spotted, you just go behind a rock for 10 seconds and then repeat the process. So you have the same on the other side, but it's just not as good. It's a little bit imbalanced in that way, that here you only have 2 little hills where you can sit on, and they're not as powerful as these on the K line. So defending your cap from this spawn, way, way, way easier. And if you're in a losing position, I would always recommend going here eventually, you know. Not right away, of course, but eventually making your way over here and just defending. As you'll see, some of my allies here are not going to make the right decisions. They're going to get punished and they're not going to be very happy about it. The other flank is falling. And this is part of a bigger video that I want to make in the future, but in short terms, World of Tanks maps are divided into 3 parts. You have an area in the middle that is kind of like a jungle, if you will. If you play like mobile games and stuff like that, you'll know what I mean. It's kind of like a no man's land, where just light tanks just do stuff. Spotting, scouting, aggressive plays are made, stuff like that. Then you have one flank here, then you have one flank on the other side. Now, on this map, or in this situation specifically, we have completely obliterated one flank. So we're winning on this side of the map. And what teammates often do after they win a flank is that they think the game is over, because they just look at this little area right here and they think that if we push, we capture the base and we win. Now, the enemies have the same exact idea on the other side. They have completely won this flank. Like, this 60 TP is dead in like 10 seconds, and my T-57 Heavy is all by himself. Very outpositioned as well. He can get shot in the back by if these people turn around. Now, they have the exact same idea. They are thinking that, okay, well, the game is over. We can just kill this guy, and then push into the cap, and we win. Good players will realize that pushing into these kind of big crossfires is not a good idea, usually. And going back and shooting people that push into crossfires is actually the right way to go about things. So I was still thinking that I could maybe motivate my team, or maybe flank these people on this bridge line here, to kind of enable my team to make this play that I know they want to make. But you see me turning around, because I redecided. I was listening to my brain instead of my gut right here. And I want to do what Mr. AMX30B is doing right now. This 30B did 6.3k damage, I think. Something like that. Like 6k plus, I think. And he's playing the game very, very properly. So, my 60 TP dies, my T-57 Heavy dies. Because of my mobility, I have gotten into a perfect position here. And this mouse right now doesn't really know that I'm here. He does now, however. I'm not gonna talk about, like, you know, using trees as double bushes and all the small kind of details. It's more about, like, focusing around, like, playing around the map-specific information, stuff like that. So me using this tree in front of me as a double bush to not get spotted by the mouse, I will not mention. But this was just one instance that I won't talk about it. I have an E100, he's pressing SOS. And look what's happening here. A lot of my team is still pushing in. But there's a 430U in the middle. AMX30B here. Perfect crossfire as well. So, there's an E100 in front of me. And again, I've said this before, keeping people at the edge of my view range is where I like to have them. I have camo advantage, I have CVS, I will be able to see them 100% of the time. I get spotted, it's fine, I can just chill behind a rock. I'm a little bit concerned about the 430U, but he's, you know, busy farming my teammates. And I just count to 10, and I just repeat this. Not really worried about anything, just sitting here quite comfortably. The E100 tries to push around, I punish him, shooting a little bit of APCR, but, you know, we're shooting at mouses and E100s, who can blame me? So, the Tassac, the 705A, the E5 and I7. Look at this. So what's happening here is that they're making the exact same play that I am making, right? They're going back to their base, they're playing this full down position here, and the E5 has taken it upon himself to go full down right here, with the AMX-30B in the corner. 430U is sitting in this bush behind this rock, covering the outside, and they have set up a perfect defense here. Very, very well played to all of these people here. And the spoiler alert, the 705A is also on his way back, but he is a little bit slower, so, you know, he's trundling behind. So, my pattern, you know, after 2 people died here, all of these people have taken tons of damage. He's thinking, you know what, I am the main protagonist in life. The universe has chosen me as its sole ruler and conqueror. So he pushes forward. And he dies. Now, again, I don't want to tell people how to play the game. I'm just here to give advice, once again. And this is not map-specific advice, but driving in front of people trying to defend their base is usually not a very smart thing to do. And this is not something with steps, it's just something in general that you have to take account of, is that people that are seasoned at the game know that people make these kinds of mistakes. I know that when a flank is lost, poor players, some people will push forward because they want to cap and they want to win, they want to kill artillery, they want to kill camping TDs, stuff like that. 50% of them will do that, and then 50% of them will go back. And in my opinion, going back is the right play. You'll see that here. My 140, I'll actually give him a little bit of a shout out. Panzer Commandant Pyro 17, if you ever see this, you are the biggest hero in the universe. You are an absolute gigachad. Also, this mouse, he didn't go to the heavy flank, still playing the game correctly. He was pushing all the way to this corner, and then he saw what was going to happen, and he adapted. He took it upon himself to drive all the way back in a mouse, which takes a tremendous amount of time, but it is better than pushing into these vehicles. Like, what is he going to do? Drive in front of an E5 that's just going to auto-pin him? No. So yeah. My pattern drives forward, he dies. And the same with this mouse and the enemy E100. This is a perfect example of what would have happened to my mouse if he would have gone forward. He would have gotten farmed. And again, my 6th sense has gone off. I'm just counting to 10 here until no longer spotted. Got some nice bushes in front of me. On the right side I have an E100 who's going to struggle with spotting me a little bit. I do run camo on my crew, so it's quite nice. Object 140 and mouse are in position. And look at this. There are some words here that I can't pronounce because the video will become age restricted, but the pattern died and he proceeds to type in chat. TDs defend base, mediums help attack. Question mark, question mark. Why the F are blind TDs pushing. He's talking about these tank destroyers here. And the mediums defend, and the mediums base camping? Question mark, question mark, question mark. And then he writes this. So this person kind of thinks that he's playing a single player game, right? Because if you're playing like a single player game, you can just, you know, be the hero, you can just blast everybody down, and it's really fun. But when you're playing a PvP game and you're playing against human beings that kind of like know what they're doing, they're gonna try and, you know, murder you as efficiently as possible. And he just drove straight into it. Imagine a universe where he would have gone back to me and helped me farm all of these enemies pushing into my base here. The mouse would have died twice as fast. The E100 would have taken even more damage. And maybe if he's sitting here, he could have killed the 430U, overpeaking these people trying to flank around. So there's just a lot more variation in his options if he would have gone back. Again, in my humble opinion. So yeah. And again, he maybe just wasn't... he just didn't know how to play the game, or this map, and that's kind of why I'm making this video. So Mr. Patton, if you're watching this video, I hope this helps you in the future. Now, this 430U doesn't spot me, and that makes me kind of questioning this bush, because either this bush is broken or his commander is dead or something. And again, he's just driving into me. I shot him once before, so he knows that I'm here. And he's just driving into me. And this is something that happens when the enemies are in a winning position, is that they have a lot of overconfidence. And that's kind of what our team had, and the enemy team as well, in regards to the mouse, the E100, the Object 430U in this instance, is that they just think that the game is over. And at this moment in time, it's time to farm. I ping on the map to my 140 if you could please kill the 430U. Because I left him on like 40 hit points. He's in a very, very annoying position. I ping again, and he actually pressures him. And I was like, what? You're such a nice person. Thank you. He does bounce one shot. The mouse comes as well, which I think is hilarious because he spends like 5 times the amount of time to get there. But he dies. I ping thank you to the 140 because this is huge. If people are allowed to play that little ridge there while they're attacking, they can put a lot of pressure on the people like me in the back trying to outspot me and stuff like that. So here I've been very conservative with my HP up until this point, not taken any very like aggressive plays. So I can trade my HP. If this E100 shoots me once, I'm willing to take one shot. So here, oh, he's completely caught out of position. He's by himself. I already looked back because I was so sure that was going to kill him, but it didn't. I know his reload is very long, so that's why I just sit out to the open. And again, I was just willing to take shots to get him out of the game. We have information on the Tessek. Now, my 140 again does this kind of thought where, okay, we won a flank, now we have to go forward. And I've talked about this before, is that I love to set up traps, right? I love to lure people into me to make mistakes and then just absolutely blast them. So I think that the best option here is that I still think that the enemy team thinks that they are winning. Which they are. They are winning. They have 3000 HP up on us. Spoiler alert, the I7 and the 705A, who you're going to see very soon, are full on hit points, which is very scary. And they have a kill extra. And they have a Tessek who can spot. But look at this. In the edge of my view range, my mouse is scouting for me. Absolute jam. I'm aiming at the front because I think that the fuel tanks are at the front of the 705A. And I want to keep in track. That shot went somewhere. And look. I did my mission as well. Huge pog. And he's dead. So he went from full HP down to 0 in like, I think like 30 seconds of coming into my render distance. My 140 has like nice side shots on him as well. And he just got absolutely blasted. And I love that, because if he would have just gone around or through the road in the middle, he would have taken 0 damage. So overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer. And it's just so true in World of Tanks. So again, full HP I7. Very, very scary. And here, you'll see that I could have peeked out, shot him right now. But what I think would have happened when I was sitting here is that I shoot him. He's going to either spot me or, you know, he's going to realize that I'm here and he's going to drive back. And then I would maybe get 1, maybe 2 shots on him. So what I want to do is I want him to drive as far up as possible and then start shooting him. So I'm not peeking, I'm not peeking, I'm not peeking. And I notice that he stops, and then I go back. Or I start shooting. I'm aiming at the rear of the I7, because the rear has the fuel tanks. I track him, which is amazing. He burns a repair kit. And look, I get a 3rd shot as well, which is really nice. He stops to aim at me, I'm spotted. One of 2 things here. I have to wait until he moves or wait until I'm spotted. I get a 4th shot, and if I would have penned my initial shots, he would have been on 1 HP right now. Look how fast I flick my gun over to the Tessek, because that is actually the vehicle I'm most scared of. 140 picks him up. I tell him thank you. Presses affirmative. I love communicating in World of Tanks. It's such a slept-on feature, communicating with your teammates. I tell him, I'll help you. He presses affirmative. And again, I'm leaving my camping position because this is the time to apply pressure. The enemies have reversed the roles. Instead of us over-pushing into their cap, they have over-pushed into our cap. I've punished them as much as possible from the camping position. It's now time to apply pressure. This is when you want to be aggressive. When people are by themselves and just completely out of position. So I write here in chat as well, let me take a hit, because he is 1 shot and a fire away from dying. I'm on full hit points, and you know, I could get ammo wrecked, but whatever. Again, he writes affirmative. I love this coordination. So important. Kind of a bot auto aim, but who cares? 140 finishes him off. We give each other a little kiss. It's fine. And look at the situation here. 0 damage taken. I type in chat YOLO him because it is the right move. I have a mod installed where if I hold the information button, I can see that the 30B is a 1-shot and I'm full HP. The only thing I need to do is to know where he is, because he needs like 4 or 5 shots to kill me, because I just need to hit him once. Right now, I'm thinking that he, again, wants to defend from Galen, because it's such a powerful spot to be in steps. See some trees knocked over. And mouse types go, which is actually the right decision, but I was still a little bit nervous, and I wanted to wait for my friend who would be one way around. I shoot, and I don't get spotted, which means that he's not in K-line. Now in a standard battle you need 1 minute and 40 seconds to cap. With 2 people it's a lot quicker, of course. And I spot him. But before we finish the game off, I just have to talk about capping for a quick moment. I never cap. This is the first time I'm within the parameters of a cap circle in months. Capping is most of the time useless, because you're actively giving away your position to people. Capping is good for one thing and one thing only, and that is if you want to draw people out of hiding. And that is the exact thing that we wanted to do here. It doesn't matter that I'm caught out in an open field against a hold down 30B, or that I'm, you know, right in front of their camping positions. He could peek here and get 2 or 3 free shots. It doesn't really matter, right? I just need to find him. And that is the only reason why I'm camping. If I still had like 5 minutes, I would just zoom around the map and try and find him. But this was quicker. So again, I just needed to find him. I have full HP. I cannot lose here. Object for 140 actually says I cap, which, it doesn't matter, but it is not the correct thing to do, because if I would have gotten ammo racked here, and he would have still been in the cap, he would have been caught with his pants down. So the best thing for him to do was actually just to join me in killing the 30. But yeah. And we ram him to death, which is kind of BM, but, you know, I just thought it was funny. Super well played to this 30B, because he did the exact same thing that I did. It was just that he was unfortunate that he lost most of his hit points in the process by playing on this medium flank, and I wasn't really paying attention to what he did, but he just got caught out of position multiple times. And yeah, that is steps. This is not going to be the only steps video that I ever make. I want to do multiple replays of the same map, of course, but, you know, because I didn't explain from the other side where you want to go and stuff like that, it's mostly the same on a lot of maps, but again, just more content for me, I guess. So this was a nice little replay here, and I just thought it was perfectly played, and I didn't really do anything positioning wise that was, you know, like top 10 angles to get 5k DPG on steps. You know, it was just like, I went to a starting position, there was no more use for me. I went to the other side, I went to another starting position, I pushed forward, I saw that we were losing, I went back to another very standard position, farm people, played, you know, the aggressive plays were quite good in the end of the day. And then I just pushed the last medium, and that was it. Like, it was a nice score, and yeah, but that's how you play steps. Again, thank you to my 140 and the mouse, and that was probably it. I talk too much when the game is over, so I'm just gonna end it here. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.